Hi everyone, welcome back to The Learning Gardener. If you haven't been here before, my name is Pip. This guy is Raphael and Ladybird is somewhere behind me. But if you hear some rumbling, we've actually got my best friend's dog here as well, called Clancy. He's here for a sleepover and the puppies are wrestling and playing. But we have got a lot of cleaning up to do and it's like Rafa's going to make it more. Come on, bud. So while Rafa and Clancy wrestle over the bamboo, we are going to do what we can to deal with this area. We have got so much work to do. I've been sick for 3 weeks. Before that, we had 3 weeks of really heavy rain. I'm still not 100%, but like at this point, I feel really behind on my winter garden, and I had massive plans to get ahead that included planting brassicas. God, words are hard. Planting brassicas really early, and that didn't work out. So they all just basically got heat stroke because it was a very warm autumn. We were supposed to have a really warm winter, like an unusually warm winter. It has been bitterly cold. The other day I came out to feed the chickens and I picked something up and a whole sheet of ice came off it, and so I stuck my hand in the water trays that I use to keep my seedlings moist, and it was like a full sheet of ice, and I've never had that before. But the plus side of the finally cold weather, and honestly much colder than a normal winter, is that the dahlias have finally died off. Had I not been sick for the last 3 weeks, I would have just pulled them before now, because I bought a ton of extra garlic, and this is really the only place I can put them. So they have to go in the ground like today, because we've only got 8 weeks left of winter, and I'm a bit worried that they might not get the cold period that they need to make a good bulb. But you know, you can only do what you can do. And yeah, so today we're gonna dig up the dahlias and hopefully maybe label them, but potentially not, potentially just put them in a pile up on the deck, and let them dry off, and I will deal with separating them another day. I don't know how they're going to go because a lot of them didn't actually bloom this year, because on this frame here we had pumpkins and loofahs, and we also need to take the loofahs down today because we are expecting heavy rain again in a couple of days, and it's supposed to rain for about a week. And I have already harvested 3 of the loofahs, and I opened them up and they were moldy because of the rain. So these ones were mostly green or still are green, and I don't want them to go moldy in the rain. So I'm going to harvest them and we're going to get them, hi Clarence, we're going to get them harvested and clean up the frames. I do need to whack the poles in and actually like properly straighten up these frames, but that's really a 2-person job. So once Clance's mum comes back, maybe she'll be able to help me with that at some point, but not this weekend. We don't have time. I've got a lot of really big jobs to get to. In a dream world today, once I pull the dahlias, I'm going to plant the garlic. I have some mushroom compost to add to the top, because this has just been a flower bed, an unsuccessful flower bed. And in winter it should get enough sun because the sun comes in from this angle and the loofahs will be gone. And then we need to gone the loofahs. Then the other thing I want to do is I want to mulch some of the potatoes. I pulled out some of the potatoes out of the big grow bags, just because like I was planning to try and do an experiment to see how many potatoes you could kind of like fudge the lines with. And as I was editing the video, I was like, mate, you got too enthusiastic. You need to pull some of those out. So they need to get planted. I've got other potatoes that need to get planted. We had a massive windstorm that like blew the whole world around the yard in the last couple of days, so we need to do some cleanup. And they blew, hi darling, they blew the seedlings everywhere, but we have a whole bunch of peas and beans that are ready, so I want to put them on the fence down near the chickens, and I want to try and get as much of that done today as possible because we need to make up for lost time because we haven't really been in the garden for 600 years. So yeah, we're just going to get on with it, aren't we, Clarence? You're going to help me? Such a good boy. You having your sleepover with us tonight? Yay! Hi Raph, you're back with the bamboo. And this is Ladybird. You my big girl. It's all happening over here. Okay, so we're just going to get into it now, and yeah, we'll chat to you along the way, but we've got a lot of work to do, don't we, bud? Lots of work. Thanks, darling. So we've got 1 out of 3 beds. We've got a couple of grubs for the chickens, but 1 out of 3 beds done, and with a little help from my friends. The last thing I'm going to try and dig up here is the peony. Trying to remember if this is a second season or a first season. It's definitely the 3rd time I'm moving it, but it just, with the arbors in front, did not get enough sunlight at all to even consider blooming. So we're going to relocate it somewhere else, another grub for the chickens. But we've got 2 more beds of dahlias plus 1 other dahlia in one of the other beds to dig up. But these dahlias, as I said, they didn't get a lot of sunlight, and the tubers are actually still really quite small. And to be fair, I think I was very unimpressed with whoever I ordered these dahlia tubers from. They were tiny, and I was pretty sure that they weren't going to do anything. Look, I could probably divide these, actually probably more easily than I normally can. Normally they're a huge chunk and they're really hard, and oh, that one's going to have to come off. I've somehow split that, but I might not, just because they were so pathetic this season, but I might. We'll see how we go, but we definitely need to find a better home for the peony and get these up on the deck to dry out. So now that the chickens have eaten the grubs that I have and I don't have any more, Boo, don't eat my fingers. Frex, you were slow. I tried to give you more because you're making so many beautiful eggs because you're a good girl. But what we're going to do now is clear out some of the leaves out of the coop. I was actually going to do this when I clean out the coop for the purposes of sorting out the compost, because we've got a bit of a situation going with the compost. But what I'm thinking I'm actually going to do is I've just cleaned out the asparagus bed, and because the asparagus pops quite early in spring / really late winter, I'm not going to plant anything else in that bed. I also need to do some reconstruction work on the archway just to make it a little bit more solid for the next growing season. And Betty, why do you make so much noise, darling? But so what I thought I would do is skip the composting process because I only have a couple of bins, and I'm just going to scrape up all the leaf matter and put it straight on top of, hopefully there's no poo that I'm about to sit on, put it straight on top of the asparagus bed and then cover it in mulch, which will be the layer of carbon, and it can break down in place, because the asparagus bed I meant to compost last season, but it emerged and got away with it really quickly, and then I was going to do it, and then that's when I had my stillborn son, and so by the time that had happened, everything had kind of gone to hell in a handbasket. So it really desperately needs some compost. I don't want to miss out on doing it this season because it's raining or because something's happening or whatever. So I figure if I put these leaves straight on the chickens, as you can see, Freckle Betty's doing a great job now, have been turning the leaves. I've been using the leaves kind of like a mulch, I guess, in here. So there is a layer of pine mulch to absorb the moisture because we've had a lot of rain, and we do have very moist soil anyway because we back onto a riverbed. And then I put the leaves on top because, number one, they love scratching around. Those are my fingers, they're not grubs. They love scratching around in the leaves, particularly Betty Boo. She goes nuts for it, and as you can see, Frex loves to do a little bit of grazing, much more than the others love it. These two particularly are a big fan, and it makes the ground like a lot softer, because Big Betty, who you can't see at the moment, had a foot injury, and I'm not sure whether she stabbed herself on a bit of the pine mulch bark or if it was a scaly leg mite scale coming off, but her scaly leg mite is like, oh, it's looking pretty fabulous at the moment. Actually, here she comes, but is very, 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 very early stage. So it didn't seem likely that that's what it was. Anyway, so and also my theory is that if I just leave mulch, we're still going to have poop everywhere. I use charcoal to keep the smell down, and it works beautifully. But also the leaves, because the chickens love them so much, I've been going around stealing leaves from anywhere I can find them. And my aim is to let them poop on the leaves for about 2 weeks and then scratch them out and change them and give them more. And hopefully that will give them both insulation and amusement and soft bedding all through winter. And it'll give me way, 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 way more compost than I had last year, because the leaf litter I had last year was amazing compost, and I used it to fill some of the garden beds we're actually planting in today. And I did like a hugelkultur style garden bed, but I didn't have anywhere near enough compared to what I need to. So this year I think comparatively I've got like at least 8 times the leaf matter that I had last season. So hopefully with the help of the chicken poop I will have significantly more compost. The chicken poop itself makes very, very hot compost, so I can't really plant directly into it once I put it in the bed, so it's kind of good that it's going to sit there for about 8 weeks at least until the asparagus starts to emerge. But I'm going to need to put a nice thick layer of sugarcane mulch on top, both to act as a carbon layer, a de-stink layer, and keep the dogs out of eating the chicken poo. So what I'm going to do now is rake this up, and we're going to pop it in the asparagus bed we just cleaned out. Then we're going to add the mushroom compost to the beds that had the dahlias in it. that the puppies helped me clear out. The puppies are gone. I sent Clarence home because he suddenly realised the chickens were here and he was very upset about them. And also both he and Rafi have hip dysplasia, so they need to play and then rest and play and then rest. And then I'll go and get him later. But while I'm working in the chicken area, the dogs are all inside. But what I want to do is put the mushroom compost, put some chook poo pellets, put some new fertilizer in where I'm going to put the garlic, and these are additional garlic bulbs. So I bought about the same amount as last year, but different varieties, because I couldn't get the same varieties. And I already planted them weeks and weeks ago, and they're up, and I'm a bit worried about them because we've had like 73 inches of rain since I planted them, so I'm a bit worried they're slightly yellowing. Normally when that happens, my garlic gets covered in aphids, so I'm a bit worried I might not get any. So in a way, this second planting is great, but it's also that it turns out when you make homegrown garlic, it tastes so much better, so you eat heaps more garlic than normal. And my mum loved that garlic, and then she asked me for some, and by then I'd eaten it all. So I need to plant way more this year, and here I was thinking I have too many garden beds, and now I'm like struggling for space. So we're going to get this poopy mess cleaned out to some extent, and on the asparagus bed we're going to fertilize those garden beds. We're going to put some more soil in, and then I'm going to go inside, get all the garlic, and we're just going to put them in. I might pause and tell you what varieties we have, or I might just put them up on the screen, but we have got a lot of garlic planting to do, and we're going to lightly water because it's going to rain in the next few days, and mulch that in. I will put the blackbird coverings on. I need to take the blackbird coverings off some of the other beds, but I think I might have left it too late on some of them and might not be able to get them off, which makes weeding the beds really hard. But at least the blackbirds haven't ripped up those beds. But if I leave them uncovered, they will, because they're really annoying, and that's just where we're at. So hopefully we're going to have 3 beds of garlic planted up soon, and then we can move on to the next job. And then by the end of the day, what I'm going to do is bring all the waste down here to the fire pit, and I might deal with it tomorrow, but yeah, it's all going to get gone because I can't get that volume of stuff to the tip without a trailer, and I can't drive a trailer because I don't have the attachment on my car at the moment, and I can't drive a trailer. So it's time to clean up in here, Frex, and you get some new leaves. Hey darling, what do you think?
Tell me where to go. I'm not afraid to step outside and see the world for what it is. No, spending all my time with people that I barely know. You may have thought that I was lost, and all I need is room to grow. I'm coming home to put a flower in your hand, but you should know there ain't no place I'd rather be. Sometimes I feel alone, you know it's me and my guitar. We're looking up at darling stars, singing where we supposed to go now. Ruthie, little lady, tell me what you mean to me, and I'll build a house in Byron Bay, if that's exactly where you'll be. I'm coming home.
I just had to do a dash to the nursery to get more mulch to cover this bed and to cover the garlic that we're going to plant, because I was totally out. I've chicken poo pelleted each of the beds, and I've got the mushroom compost ready, and I've only got in 2.5 bags for each bed, which is not ideal, because as I said, these are hugelkultur beds. They've got rotting logs underneath the surface, and when I was digging for the dahlias, some of the dahlias had rotted, which I suspected some of them would when I got them, which is why I wasn't impressed with wherever it was that I got them from. but some of them, where they in theory were, the soil level was really, really shallow over the logs because everything's obviously compacted a lot over the course of 12 months since we constructed these beds. So they desperately need more soil, but this is all we've got, and I can't. Well, we used all the leaves from the chicken run, and obviously I'm not going to scrape up every single leaf because you're also getting some of the wood mulch in there as well when you scrape it up, but you're predominantly getting the leaves. And some of the reason why I got the wood mulch is because it's been weeks since I cleaned out the chicken run because I've been sick. But we're just going to have to do what we can with this. So I'm going to put the mushroom compost in, put a slow release fertilizer in, put blood and bone in, and I tend to just do a heavy fertilize when I plant because I am hopeless at doing subsequent fertilization. Fertilizers of any variety really. If they don't get fertilized when they get planted, they don't get fertilized. So in terms of how much garlic we're planting, we've got quite a lot in this box. This is twice what I planted last year at least, and a lot of them I tried to get the hotter flavors of garlic, and I just got a text message from my mum saying I would like hot garlic, so I did try and buy enough to make sure that she gets some. So we'll see how much works out. We have had a lot of rain, as I said, so I'm worried about the other ones we planted earlier. But I did also just buy some varieties because I'm a sucker for anything Spanish. And so hopefully they are hotter rather than milder garlics. So we've got 4 bulbs of a Spanish purple stripe, 4 bulbs of a Rojo de Castro, 4 of a marble blush, 2 early garlic, 4 dynamite, 4 master jack, 2 garlic, elephant garlics, 2 colossus, and 4 of the New Zealand purple, which is a variety we grew last year, which was so strong that when I was peeling it, I could only do 2 cloves at once, and then my hands would get like a dermatitis. They'd really sting, but the flavor was unreal and the aroma was fabulous. So if I could have found more of those, I would have, but I don't even know that we've got enough space to fit all of these. I think I ordered another Temu potato bag just in case, so worst case scenario we'll have to set up a Temu bag, but we've still got a lot of stuff to do today, so I'm just gonna get on with this and we'll just see how we go through the many jobs that I've fallen behind on. So
it's all just like a stone, vulnerable at night. She's always been on her own, doesn't need a man to fight. There goes my lady with her plans. We break all the rules when we can. I'm part-time singer in a band. Ooh, she's washing dishes right now. Soon we'll be in Neverland. like tearing my heart, but a weight off my chest. Set fire to the rest. I can see through the smoke, but the pain is still fresh. And I still think about the life that I lived when you and me were at our best. But our love ran cold with the words we said. I lost you, yeah, I know too well. Thought it through, but it hurt like hell. If I see you again, I'll be someone else. I lost you, but I found myself.
Even though some of the garlic bulbs were a little bit squishy and some were definitely way too squishy to plant, I was relieved to finally get them in the ground. They've been sitting in the lounge room, which, to be honest, is non-ideal for the garlic because every night I'm putting the fire on in winter. So I think the fact that I was delayed 3 weeks planting, first by the weather and then another 3 weeks by being too sick to do it, it just made some of those garlic bulbs just too far gone. So it'll be interesting to see how much we actually get to harvest. As I said, I'm concerned about the garlic I planted earlier in the season because of the amount of rain we've had, and because we've got rain just around the corner again and it's supposed to be a huge amount. I thought I'll grab all the loofahs, whether they're ready or not, because the ones I left before went moldy. So I'm hoping that at least if I harvest these early and protect them from the big rains that are coming, maybe we'll actually get some loofahs that are usable after an entire season of waiting for them. And I just cannot believe how many there are. Hopefully in amongst all of these there are some non-moldy ones, but I don't have time to deal with them today. That is going to have to be a job for another day. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with us, and I hope you've enjoyed this video, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.